Yeah, this is the latest. There's a whole bunch of things that have happened in the last 12 hours. I'll just try to run through it. Apple TV has evidently made a significant bid at the last minute of the Pac 12 to come in to be their primary streamer. The problem is it's based on subscriptions. The second problem is they're evidently only offering about 25 million per school, but there's bonus clauses that would be there. If the subscription rates rocket, the Apple TV money would move off 25 million and would increase as we go. Now the question is a Pac-12 going to give the bulk of the marquee games to Apple TV, or is the Pac-12, which suddenly was contacted by TNT and TBS, going to take part of that and give that to them? Where does this whole thing with Comcast fit in? Where does this thing with CW, which is still out there? Is Disney still a player? So a lot of moving parts at this point, but that's the latest. Apple TV has shown up with a very creatively financed deal. It's not going to be equal to the 50 million that the Big 10 is getting. It's surely not what the SEC is distributing or the 37 mil right now that the Big 12 is offering. That's one storyline. The second storyline is not good. Yahoo Sports reported overnight that the commissioner of the Big 10 has made secret contacts to put together a 4-team package if the Pac-12 dissolves. The Big 10 is now willing to go to 20 teams. They would take Oregon, they would take Washington, the standard bearers, they would take Cal and Stanford because of their academic heritage. That's out there. Another piece of the equation, I was told Oregon does not want to make any decision that would kill the conference. They don't want to be stained forever as the one that took the conference down. And Washington is kind of the same note that we don't want to be blamed for the disintegration. Everybody's waiting to see whatever this final TV deal is going to be. If those 4 leave, that means the corner schools, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah, obviously would go to the Big 12. Big 12 would respond to what the Big 10 has done. And the Pac-12, as we know it, would be done. What's left? Oregon State Beavers, Washington State Cougars. I'm led to believe there have been overtures by the Mountain West. If this happens, if this thing dissolves, we will offer you to come, which would obviously elevate the value of the TV contract the Mountain West has. So there might be a little bit more money for San Diego State. At this point, it all spins on the Apple TV bid, but all of a sudden there's all these other dominoes that could start to fall along the line. That's an awful lot of information, but that's the update I got from guys that I deal with in the Pac-12, the Big 12, and obviously what has now been reported by Yahoo. Initially, it was supposed to be 2 schools. All of a sudden, it's like a 4-pack.
Yeah, so I've heard those rumors about Oregon and Washington, but not Cal and Stanford. So that's news to me. It's just everything is just so chaotic right now with the TV deals and the conference realignment and the mergers and everything else. But it is cool to see Apple. I mean, they did that deal with Messi. They're getting creative. They're trying new things. So this whole streaming world is just changing the landscape of how these programs are broadcasted. So I think there's a little bit of, we're just trying to feel it out, and these guys are committing to long-term deals, and it's hard to predict what the revenue model is going to be in the streaming world.
But the world, I guess the question I'll pose, because you subscribe to stuff, I subscribe to stuff, but you can't subscribe to everything. The question I have is, can you live in a world where all your marquee games are strictly on streaming subscription on Apple TV, or do you need a component? Because you and I will be able to punch up Big 12 games and Big 10 games will be on my TV on Saturday afternoon. Do you need a, what do they call it, linear TV partner? Now, does the Pac-12 come back and tell Apple, we like your ideas of the bid. We'll give you a marquee Friday night college game. And that Friday night game could be Oregon, Washington. It could be anybody. We'll make sure with the scheduling package at Apple TV on a Friday night package gets a marquee game, because that's an open window that nobody has filled right now. But do you want to ignore linear TV? You got Oregon, you got Washington, you got the Beavers, you got the Cougars.
But everyone's cutting the cord now. So I mean, no one has the rabbit ears with the tinfoil anymore, and the cable thing is dissolving rapidly. That's why Bally Sports imploded. So everything is just radically changing here. Now, for me as a consumer, I'm used to having multiple streaming platforms. And if we can a la carte it, where you just maybe have the Big 10 network or the Pac-12 network, then it might actually be less than a $200 cable bill. So, the world is changing radically, and it's just hard to see how this goes. But we're getting to the point now where we don't need to always depend on Keith Jackson on ABC. It's a different space.
But the other conferences will have their games on normal network TV, and the Pac-12 is going to disappear completely and just go on Apple, and you better subscribe. And your wife's going to beef if you say you're going to cancel your cable and that's no Turner Classic Movies or no CNN. She won't be real happy, so you can buy Apple TV. It bears watching. I guess I'll pose on the fans forum, I'll throw this question at the people on the live stream. Oregon, Washington, if you were them, if you were the Ducks, if you were the Huskies, would you leave? And will it lead to the demise of the Pac-12? So we got that. One other college